This is The Healthy Healer, where true voice is your medicine. This is where we help doctors and other healers navigate through the challenging times by learning from the best minds in the healing industry. Laugh, cry, and be surprised. It's entertainment, education, and inspiration so you can continue to be the unique and amazing healer you were destined to be. Welcome to humanity. Welcome to The Healthy Healer with Dr. Fred.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Healthy Healer. It's Dr. Fred, and I always have the opportunity to interview some amazing people who've been up to amazing things. And then we get to learn a little bit about how they got to be so amazing, what in their life led them to think that they could be amazing, and then have the audacity to become amazing during this short life of ours. So today I have a guest that's pretty good at being amazing. She's up to a lot of great things and even has already told me that her TEDx just got released this week, in fact, just yesterday. And so she's already gathering a bunch of listeners on that, a bunch of watchers on that, and has been on multiple different high level interviews in the past, and has been published in multiple magazines, including Inc., Insider, Toronto Sun, Psychology Today, and has been on ABC 7 News multiple times, and has also been on Daybreak OC for a television season, and that's Orange County for those of you who don't live in California. And she has much to say about love, about togetherness, about communication, about compassion, intimacy, joy. And so let's get started before it doesn't get too late. Heather Browne, Dr. Heather Browne, thank you for so much for being a guest on The Healthy Healer. It's just a wonderment to have you here.
Oh, thank you. I love your intro of having the audacity. What a great word and what a great choice to live
Yeah,
in life. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so talk to me a little bit. Like one of the first questions, if you've heard any of my previous interviews, one of the first questions I like to ask my guests is a real simple 9-letter question that gets us right to the point, actually. It's grammatically correct and it's only 3 words, but it's a big one. And that is, Dr. Heather Browne, who are you?
I am someone who's in love with life and with learning and with nature and the beautiful experience that we get to have by living this life. I'm someone who tries to live in the moment and tries to grow from every opportunity in front of me. The stuff that most people would say. I'm a psychotherapist, I'm a widow, I have 2 adult children, and I'm incredibly blessed. Incredibly
Yeah.
blessed. Yeah.
Thank you for all that. There's so many places that I could leap from. Let's talk a little bit about life being a beautiful experience. Not everybody thinks that life is a beautiful experience all day, every day. And my guess is that includes you. But there's something like, even inside the nasty experiences or the experiences that are deeply uncomfortable, one can hover over the top of it and get that's part of having the beautiful experience of living life. I'd love, at least that's my perspective. I'd love to hear your perspective on why you indeed have the audacity to come forth and say that you enjoy life as a beautiful experience just as it is.
Because it feels better. I'd
Mm,
truly rather decide this is a wonderful, magical, exciting, challenging, daunting journey than to think my life is just crap. And
right.
so I choose that. And yes, do we all go through things that can be incredibly challenging and hard? Yes.
Mm,
At times are we in crisis and just really feel like we're living in hell? Yes. But even that, when you move out of it a little bit, gives us more contrast to feel what's incredible. If you think of strawberries, how many strawberries have you eaten in your life? But every once in a while, one is, you
yeah, for
have to
sure.
have that one that's bland
Yeah.
to realize how amazing the other is. So everything's a little bit of both. Like a yes is a no. A good points out what is not good, and
Hmm.
what's not good points out what's good.
Hmm.
So to me, so much of life is which way are you looking at it? This is
Hmm.
great, or I want to make this a whole bunch better than
Hmm.
where it is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I really appreciate that. So, this idea of loving life and loving learning and loving nature, seeing that you are from Orange County, am I right? Is that where you're living at this point? Or I see
Yes.
your offices are down in Southern California, but you're living in the county at this point, in Orange
Yes.
County? Yeah.
Yeah. I live in Garden Grove.
All right. So tell me a little bit about like where your love of nature comes from. Is it ocean? Is it forest? Is it just the sun and the moon? Is it the mountains? Where is it that you find yourself most at home?
The place that really where my soul is really connected is ocean,
Mm,
but it's really all nature. My mom was a paranoid schizophrenic,
mm,
and so we spent a lot of time trying to keep mom grounded and trying to keep mom here. I think your listeners will probably be able to follow me with this one. I think you will, Dr. Fred. There's a place of insanity, which is incredibly creative because you are creating something that the rest of the world is not aware of or tapping into. And nature can be this beautiful portal for someone who's a little unbalanced to explore some of the things that seem nutsy, like trolls and leprechauns and magical fairies and four-leaf clovers, and speaking to your dogs and hugging trees, where it can be magical instead of just crazy.
mm,
And I would journey with my mom in those places a lot. So we had lots of
mm,
fairy tea parties, and our trees in the backyard had names.
mm,
Um, and I fell in love with seeing the life and the beauty within nature. And very young, I realized the grounding impact that it
mm,
had on my mom, but also on me.
mm.
And it's something my soul yearns for. I really need to live near beautiful surroundings.
Fantastic. And you certainly do. Yeah,
Yeah.
you certainly do right now. It is gorgeous down there. Really incredible. And I say down there because I live about 7 hours north, but I was recently in Carlsbad and had to come through Orange County to do that. And it is a really beautiful space that you live in Southern California. And it sounds like your upbringing in its own way was extraordinary and beautiful. Having a mom that you clearly loved dearly and was able to walk with and enjoy the fairy parties and the fantasy life that you're calling leprechauns and four-leaf clovers and fairy parties, etc. But I wonder, do you find yourself living in that world as a function of the gift that your mom actually brought to you? Like in your communication with your mom, is that part of what allows you to unlatch yourself from this three-dimensional nonsense we call reality?
100%.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%. And
Mhm.
she's why I'm a psychotherapist. She killed herself when I was 16
Mm.
because she just could not stay in this world and endure what was going on within her mind and this
Mhm.
world. And like huge loss,
For
really
sure.
painful, huge loss. But she had taught me so much.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of that was really trying to find the beauty, trying to share your message, trying to care about things dearly.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, and that's very traumatic for a 16-year-old, and for you, I can see. And, my guess is that we most of the people who come on this show who are significantly extraordinary healers have some sort of long list, a resume full of dark experiences or painful experiences that led them to be the extraordinary, unique healers that they eventually became.
Mhm.
Certainly, having a mom with such a rich diagnosis and then such a really a tragic outcome in your 16th year is part of the life that led for you to be extraordinary, gathering the dark so that you can be the light, gathering the insane so that you can help people find sanity, gathering the fantasy so that you can actually access reality. Those kinds of things are the contrasts that you're speaking to. What is some other things in your pathway that led you to be the extraordinary and super unique healer that you've now become with the TEDx talk and with your psychotherapy practice, and who you've actually been for others and who you are really for someone in couples, helping couples communicate with each other? I see that's one of your major specialties, and really being at the heart of helping people connect and communicate with joy and love.
I went through a lot. When your father marries someone who's a paranoid schizophrenic, there's some challenges there because that's a tough road for a spouse to take. So my dad, bless his heart, he grew up in the Depression era and he had TB for 3 years and he was in the sanitarium. So he'd had a really rough life. My mom had a horrific childhood. and they did what they knew how to do, but there was a lot that they didn't know how to do. My dad disowned me when I was 17 because I wanted to go off and be an actress, and he really needed me to be stable and solid and secure and be able to take care of myself, and I had spent so much of my childhood trying to keep my mom healthy and here and sane that I refused to let anyone tell me who I was gonna be, and my
Mm.
dad wasn't okay with who I chose to be, so I went off on my own, and at 17, I flew off to New York and started to put myself through college, and it took a long time for me to figure out really, like, who Heather was, what Heather thought, what Heather felt. There were a whole bunch of years of needing to deal with the challenges from childhood, and so many healers in that process. I kept seeing, "Oh my gosh, I have this massive basket of information, disowned, mentally unstable mom, alcoholic parents, I was molested, I was disowned." There was just a lot there. So my thought
Yeah.
was, I can sit with a lot of people and be able to handle what they bring and share and not be like, "Oh my god, I have nothing to offer you." And the more I worked on myself and allowed myself to be who I was, the better I've gotten at being able to help people find that place too. I don't think I heal anyone. I think I help people find their own intrinsic ability to heal themselves. And I love doing that.
Hmm.
I absolutely love doing that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I totally see that, and it emanates right off of you. To totally appreciate that. And one of the things that your bio speaks to is that you help people change sticky thought processes and see the other side of challenging situations. And this is a little bit of what you're speaking to now. You have a nickname. You call yourself, or they call you, the Reframe Queen. Tell us a little about what reframing is from your perspective.
It's a wonderful tool that when you're caught in a particular thought process or belief system to say, how can I look at this from the other side? I'll say, can we tweak this a little bit? Or how about we look at this from the other side? So it's a way to let yourself take whatever situation you are in and find a way to empower yourself in it. If you've
Hmm.
been horrifically wronged and hurt, there's the place where you can say, I've been horrifically wronged and hurt, and that's it. Or you can say, damn, I am so incredibly proud of myself that I was able to make it through that. And because I've done that, now I'm going to do so much more because I have learned how to be tenacious, resilient. It's really taking away the victim and martyr little tiaras that a lot of us like to wear and self pity that we like to wear and really embodying who you are. So if somebody comes to me and they say, it's just so hard to love myself, I'll just say, why don't we tweak that? Why don't we just, why is it so hard to love yourself? You could just as easily say, what a beautiful gift it is that I get to love me. I get to choose
Hmm.
to love me today. That's a reframe.
Yeah.
There's always the possibility to take, if I've said yes to this podcast tonight, which means I have said no to seeing a client. I'm saying no to a client so I can say yes to you. So a yes is also a no. And when you start
Hmm.
to see both sides, there's always options. And we, for some reason, don't want to give ourselves the options that we have. There's not one reality, there's 100 realities right now. I could show up snarky, I could show up insecure, I could show up hopeful, I could show up angry. And however I choose to show up, I'm going to change some of this experience of this podcast. When you
Yeah.
start to give that back to yourself, is this thought process working for you? And if it's not, let's reframe this and look at this a different way.
Hmm.
I had a client she wanted her mother to be supportive. And I get that. It's a lovely thing when you have a parent who is. Her mother was not. Her mother was practical, fundamental, and she would continually point out the shortcomings and the problems of my client. And I'd say to her, "You're going to the wrong person." She said, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You're wanting your mom to be someone she's not. She's gonna help you with the practical. She's gonna help you stay on track. She's gonna point out where you can improve things, but she's not gonna be that ushy gushy person." And I said to her, I had skin cancer a couple years ago, and it would have been like if I had gone to my dentist and said, "I need you to remove the skin cancer." And he would have been like, "Heather, I'm a dentist." "Yeah, I need you to remove my skin cancer." You wanna ask yourself, who am I going to? And what am I trying to get from them? Or what do I want with them? And is this a possibility or is this not? And that's another place of the reframing you do. I'm going to go
Hmm.
toward you because there's a benefit in what you can share with me. But if you can't, or you don't, or you're not willing, or it's not your skill set, then I'm foolish to go to you for that.
Hmm.
I should go to somebody who can help that more.
Hmm.
But we stay stuck. No, it needs to be you. It must be my mother. My mother must be warm and gushy, and she wasn't.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, it seems like what you are is that you're an agent for the possibility of like transformation, being able to simply getting that if I'm feeling unhappy, there's something of a choice there. If I'm feeling unhappy with the way things are, if I'm feeling unhappy with my life, if I'm feeling unhappy with the world around me, if I'm feeling unhappy with the future, if I'm feeling unhappy with my relationship or my relationships elsewhere, these are all things that I have an authorship to and can actually alter by maybe changing my mindset or by looking in different directions. And any given moment, if I say that I hate my life, I can also immediately turn around saying that anything else I want about my life, actually. Just take the same exact data. I don't have to say I love my life as an option of that. There's many other options, including I appreciate the challenge of living a life that is difficult, or I appreciate the opportunity to take on these obstacles and hurdles that are in the way of me actually enjoying the moment. I get to say whatever I want to say.
Yeah,
And there's only I think that leaving a space like that for your clients and for your friends and family and loved ones allows others to see that space and grow into it in your presence.
mhm,
Sometimes that's all it takes to be a healer. And I think you make a good point that we as healers don't actually heal anyone. We just create a space for people to discover where their healing can come from. And not only where, but how to access the areas of life or the other people in our life that can bring healing into our ecosystem. So,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's
So,
a place of change to make it fluid for yourself. Let's
yeah,
say I was a smoker and I view myself as a smoker, but today I decide I'm not smoking. So as long as I stick with that, I wake up tomorrow,
I'm not a smoker.
I'm not a smoker. I have smoked, but I am not a
I
smoker.
smoked yesterday and I'm not a smoker. Yeah,
I hate my life. Okay. Do I want to hate my life for the rest of my life? No. Okay. So then what would I need to do or how would I change things up to love my life? I
right.
don't ever see friends. Okay. How about you go see some friends? We are the author of our story. And so if you're not writing yourself a great part, like decide I'm going to write a different character. We can be, to a large extent, whoever we want to be by letting ourselves decide what that is.
That's
And if
right.
we get out of the way of there's a right way to do it, because there's not. There's some way to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. And perfect's actually a limitation. Because
Hmm.
if this is the end, this is it, this is supreme, wait a second. No, what it could always there's always something more growth. So if we don't look at our life as the outcome should be now, but this is where I am at this moment and how am I feeling? How am I thinking? What am I doing? And why would I not let myself experience more of what I want to experience? I had this great awareness. You'll probably laugh at me, which is great. I had this great awareness one day where I said, there's no such thing as separation. That's a total lie I've told myself. I am connected always to some God. There is no separation. And then I went, oh gosh, how sad this is because there were years I was so alone and so sad and so depressed. And I wasted so many years in that muck when I was in my therapy. And I felt Mother Mary reach out to me because she's just one of my love energies. And she said, hold on a second. What are you doing? You just found out there's no separation. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm feeling badly of the fact that I used to think there was. She goes, but you just realized there's not. I'm like, yeah. She's Heather, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm I'm feeling sorry for myself. And she said, you really want to do that? I'm like, oh, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. So I sat there feeling really sorry for myself. This is sad. This is sad. I've been lonely. I've felt horrible in my life. And now I realize I don't have to. I can just be connected with love and joy and spirit at all times. But I used to. And then I went, oh my God, stop.
Yeah.
Like, why? But there's a part, maybe it's a more female thing than a guy thing, but there's a part of us who wants big daddy, big mommy, the boss, the boyfriend, the girlfriend to tell us and show us and make our life beautiful for us.
Hmm.
And it sounds intriguing, but they're not going to do it right because they don't really know what we want. So it's so much better to say, this is my life. What am I going to give to myself? How am I going to
Yeah.
treasure this? And I want to get to the end of my life. And when God and spirit and whomever else says, like, how was it? I want to be able to say, amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you for giving me this opportunity
Yeah.
to live in I got this body. How fortunate I am that I got to be Heather and give me this journey of Heather. Has it all been easy? Oh, hell no. But what an amazing experience that every single day I can choose to try to love me, love the world, love other people, and experience the beauty of life. That's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. Or I can feel sorry for myself that I'm a widow and I don't have a boyfriend and I don't have $5 bazillion in the bank and whatever. There's always room to feel badly for yourself, but what a disempowering thing.
Yeah.
And we get so caught in when I have, if I have, then I'll be happy. And as long as you're reaching for something to make yourself happy, you're not going to be because
Hmm.
there's never enough. As
Hmm.
humans, we want more. Like, why do we have a stomach that needs to be filled numerous times a day? Because we want more. And that's a beautiful thing. But happiness is right now
Hmm.
if you choose it to be.
Exactly. This is it. This is what we get. This is all
This
we have.
all we have is right now. This is it. This
That's
is
it.
all of my life in this second
And
with
that's
you
really all we have. Exactly.
right now. There's no tomorrow.
No, there is
There's
no
just
tomorrow. And
more of
there's really
this.
no past either.
No, not really. There's
Not
just
really.
this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really an access to the possibility of having a life that really works, having a life that really matters, having a life where you can be a contribution, having a life that is satisfying, and like you said, having a life that not only is not disempowering, but is frankly empowering because just by our own authorship, like giving an access to us to actually say what we mean or say what how things are by utilizing our filter to describe the world as we want it to be. Like, this is how it is. I can get that. If I have some physical concerns, or if I have some relationship concerns or financial concerns or any type of concerns, work concern, or who knows, weather concerns, all those kind of things. So those things can rank anywhere from being really delightfully interesting and fun to being miserable and nearly intolerable and frankly at times unspeakable. But
Mhm.
even with those experiences, if I'm able to separate myself a little bit and hover over the top of it all, I can see that the whole thing is just exquisite and that I've been given a total opportunity to experience all the things that I've experienced in this life and be totally happy, beyond happy, be ecstatic about having lived the life that I've lived, including all the really painful moments.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that's who you are. So
Hmm.
if you start to say, "Oh, I hate this and I hate this," and there's parts of my life I would never want to live that day again. There's many from my childhood I would never want to live that day again. And yet, I would not be me without every single one of them.
Exactly.
And since you've already gone through whatever you've gone through, you have a choice. Am I going to view this as all that I went through can be something that becomes a part of the betterment of me? Or do I decide I've been screwed over and because of that, I'm never going to be what I want to be? I don't
Yeah.
know. I would just rather decide it happened, good, bad, whatever, it happened. And I get to decide what happens now. I'm not
Yeah.
being molested now. My mom's not dying now. I no longer have skin cancer now. I can
Hmm.
decide where I am now and how I choose to feel about it. I've worked with a lot of people with cancer, and no one has ever come to me and said that they were glad that they had cancer. Not one person. But I have not had anybody who said that they regretted what they learned from going through the experience of cancer. And I have not had one person who did not feel they were a better person because of what cancer had told them to do or change or be aware of in their life.
Hmm.
We don't want tragedy, but tragedy breaks us open for the possibility of love and healing and growth. And we want to be inspired. We want to make an impact. We want to be important for someone and to love and be loved. So these tougher times are what creates opportunities for that to happen, where
Hmm.
we feel our deepest love is in those places where we have been the most hurt.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how important is it when we discover this about ourselves to share it with other people?
I think it's not important at all unless it is to you. You could have brilliant knowledge and never share it with anybody. And if for you, that was the way you wanted to live your life, praise you. We're the author. I get to decide. For me, I like sharing, I like talking. So for me, I love inspiring. It's a really big piece. But if that wasn't what I wanted, if my thought was I would just want to get through life and stay peaceful and calm and quiet and serene,
Hmm.
that's beautiful.
Heather, that's actually a way different answer than I expected, and I appreciate it completely.
What did
I
you think you'd
I
hear?
expected sharing was going to be a primary source for you. That there was
For
something like
me.
in making, well, in or for maybe all people, in
Mm-mm.
that in making these declarations, what you get to resonate with other people and get a listening in for what it is that you stand for, what it is that's important to you, and that can't be said if it's just banging around in your head and you're not expressing it.
But if that's not my desire in life, I am not doing anything other than my own perfection in not sharing it. If
Hmm.
I never want to drink a glass of wine in my entire life and the whole world says you must, I don't need to. And I
No,
can
of
be
course not.
completely fulfilled without.
Hmm.
We truly get to decide, what do I want this life to mean to me? And
Hmm.
and and what is it that I want to represent? And it may be to blow a dandelion every day.
Hmm.
I can be homeless and I can say, I don't want a house. I don't want a job. I want other people to do all the work. and to give me food, and I can make that choice. We don't have to be anything for anybody else. And so if in your heart you think, I don't want to share anything of my story, don't. If you want to share everything of your story, do. And you're probably going to have to find a lot of people because a lot of people don't want to listen to other people's stories. But to me, the real place of finding your own internal peace and love and purpose is what does it mean to you?
Hmm. Understood. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, Heather, if you have one thing to say to our listeners, to our audience today, like one thing to bring forth for the people who are having troubles, or even for the people who are living in the clouds or living anywhere in between, people who have found their answer or are living the life that's close to their dreams or close to their desires. Is there anything for all of humanity or for all these groups that you would like to say, maybe a nugget of wisdom, a tad of Heather Browne magic that you'd like to share with us?
Sure. Let me give you a second. No, it'd probably be something like in any situation where you feel that there's some disruption or discomfort or pain or judgment or negativity, there can be more love.
Mm,
And it might not come from the other, might not come from the situation, but it can certainly come from within. And so for those people who are living in the clouds and everything is amazing, I would say let yourself stay in that beautiful place. Because when we are in one of those incredible moments in time, or maybe long periods of time, when we're in our groove and everything is flowing beautifully, as long as you allow yourself to stay in that and not kink it off, you can stay there maybe forever, but you certainly can stay there for a very long time. There, if you look at the horrible times in your life, which we all have had, as a growing pain. Growing pains hurt, and they happen when the bones and the tendons want to stretch beyond how big and long they have been. Like a chick, it eats up all the food in its egg, and it knows it's got to break out of that egg to be able to get to more food. When you feel like everything's falling apart, when you feel like everything's excruciatingly painful, let yourself know in that moment, I'm in a growing pain. I'm in a growth spurt. This no longer fits me. I'm not doing this anymore. This is hell. I'm going to grow beyond this. And
mhm.
then once again, you reclaim your power, your energy, and your belief in this walk that you're walking through. So,
Fantastic.
yeah,
Really beautiful. Thank you so much.
you're
Heather,
welcome.
how can people find you if they want to follow you or learn more about you or possibly become a client or get your goodies of some sort? I mean, have a call with you. What would that take? How would people find Heather Browne?
Everything is on my website. So
Okay.
it's www.drheatherbrowne.com. There's a whole bunch of freebies on my website. Get your PDFs and all of that. All the information on my workshops, my TEDx, my book that's coming out in January, working with me. It's all on there. Or if you
Mhm.
just simply have questions or wanted to give a comment on this, privately, feel free to reach out. If I can refer you anywhere, I will. I'm honored to be able to serve people in the ways that I can.
That's fantastic. And I said I would pay a minute or two of attention to your TEDx. Tell us a little bit what this thing was that just got released yesterday.
Oh, so I'm really excited about this. So when I knew I wanted to create an online course, they said do podcasts. And so I went on my first podcast and the Lisa Olson said, you should be a speaker. I'm like, okay. So she sent me to a coach, a TEDx coach, and he said, tell me your story. And told him my story. And he goes, yeah, for sure. And I have taken the reality that I learned with my mom, which is that nobody has the same reality as anybody else, and there's a beautiful way of using connection and compassion to be able to help and support. There's a place of finding out what does the other need, and are you willing to step into that place to do so? My talk is how to feel less lonely, create meaningful connection and love. And basically, it's my viewpoint that communication is a love letter and that compassion and connection are the key to building bridges between people. And I'd love to have you guys watch it. Let me know what you think. I think it's beautiful, and I hope it blesses people deeply.
Fantastic. Dr. Heather Browne, thanks for being here with us today. It really has been an inspiring, a beautiful conversation. You're a beautiful person inside and out. It's really been an honor to have a conversation with you and to connect and communicate and have compassion together for humanity and each other. So truly appreciate you being on the show. It's been wonderful. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here on a late night. And really just been a terrific guest. Great interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I am honored.
Just a pleasure. Thank you. Take care. And everyone else, we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.